Well, hello and a very warm welcome back. It's Andrew Eborn here, and I'm joined again by Errol Musk. And we've been looking at relationship advice for people around the world. And there might be different crowds. I mean, a very different sort of relationship with May to what it was with Sue. And you were drawing a parallel between Sue, if you like, and Amber Heard. Tell me about that relationship with Elon.
Well, Sue, me and Sue was like, I suppose you might say, Elon and Amber Heard, very arty sort of people. So Amber Heard was married to Johnny Depp, and he's, greasy sort of guy to me. I not my type at all. But anyway, the thing is, and certainly not Elon's type. And you read about Amber Heard and Johnny Depp smashing up hotel rooms together or something like that, and that's the difference. I mean, if I went into a hotel with somebody or with a nice lady, and certainly if Elon went into a hotel with Amber Heard, Elon would leave the hotel in a better condition than when he went in, not all smashed up. And so that's difficult, So there's horses for courses. In fact, that's Sue's sort of phrase. Sue would say there are horses for courses.
What I loved, I was telling you beforehand that one of the rumors that was going around is that the reason Elon bought X was to get rid of all the nasty things said about Amber. What's your view of
Oh
that?
no, that's absolute nonsense. No. I mean, who cares what people say? I
Oh,
mean,
lots of people care. I think
Amber
that's
would
the point.
would
Yes.
be what would she care what people said about her? I mean, I think if people say something about you and it's true, well, obviously that won't be nice. But it's not true. Who the heck cares? And I do think that Johnny Depp mustn't come here. Mustn't come here because what he did to her in the court is unacceptable. And you do not sue the girl. You don't issue a summons or a suit against a girl that you've been married to or involved with. You do not do that. That's very ungentlemanly. If a woman wants to be divorced, you let her do the divorce against you. You don't divorce her, and so on. I mean, what he did to her is pathetic. It's pathetic, to be honest. She's a gem of a girl, and he's a rubbish. So the fact that she even entertained his company for a second, is worth the 30 million or something she's supposed to pay him. I mean, she can charge him about 10 million a second to have his company, to be in his company or have her company. No. I don't like that at all. No, she's an incredible girl and very well endowed. And my daughters loved her. They said she's just like us and just like South African girls. South African girls are a certain kind of girl, extremely everything, and capable of beating up most men for a start, So even though they might look very petite, but no, they said Amber's the best. So I think that's more important. As far as Elon, and he would never do something like that. Pay 44 billion to write off some of these bad comments. No, I don't even remember reading these comments. So no, I think the trashier sort of people got pleasure out of watching this trial that they had, which is pathetic. Pathetic. You don't sue a girl who's been kind enough to entertain you as a man. My God, nobody does that.
Yeah, it is.
You know
And it
what
is
a
sort of
prick.
talking. No, well, it is interesting. It was wall-to-wall television, and it's been turned into a Netflix series and so on and so forth. The Amber Heard versus Johnny Depp, and Johnny Depp versus Amber Heard, and we had it on both sides. We had it over in the UK, which was a slightly different decision, and the one that they had in the States. But people are fascinated with, and people in the public eye, and you and I have discussed this beforehand. It's tough enough for the people in the relationship, but when you sort of turn around and have to air all of your dirty linen in public, it must make it so much harder, doesn't it?
Well, yes, obviously. I mean, on the other hand, I mean, a lot of the time, I have books and masses of stuff written about me that's out there on video, on television, on YouTube, on all sorts of things, with red lights coming out of my eyes, saying the epitome of an evil man. That's me now. And yeah, sort of wow. I mean, gee, that's interesting. I mean, a lot of it, it's just unbelievable. So I don't know. I'm supposed to feel bad about it? No. I mean, if it's true, I might feel bad about it. If something's true, I might feel bad about it, but nothing that I ever read about was actually accurate or true in any way. So
Well,
why would I feel bad?
and that's what I love. I always say this to you is that what I love about you coming on the Andrew Eborn Show, it gives you a chance to put the record straight, if you like. It's in your own words, it's unedited, it's raw, and it's you speaking from the heart, and people can judge for themselves. I think this is important. Rather than the rubbish that other people write, you get a chance to talk about it, and that's a fair summary, isn't it?
Well, yes, a while back, I was somewhere, and this person, I didn't know who this man was, and I wasn't talking to him. I was near him, and then he sort of approached me, and loud he said to me, "You are such a dick." I actually wanted to read up what a dick is. He said to me, "I'm such a dick." I don't even know this man. You know. So anyway, a while back, shortly after that, I was on the committee of this yacht club, and he was applying to be a member. And
Good luck with
he
that.
comes bef- he comes before in front of me as for an interview to be a member of the yacht club. And I looked at him. I thought, you know, I wanted to ask him, what is this dick business? What are you talking about? But he was very, he wasn't. He was very creepy, in front of me. And anyway, I didn't take it out at him, so I didn't object to his membership.
Oh, you didn't.
No,
Are you quite
no.
forgiving in that sort of stuff then, Errol? Is it?
I think the guy's he must be an idiot or something,
Yeah.
or something. He must have some terrible home life.
Well,
I mean,
it is interesting because people have that road to Damascus moment. We were talking about Trump earlier, and J.D. Vance in 2016 called him the American Hitler, but all of a sudden had this road to Damascus thing where he regretted those words and said, well, having seen Donald as president, he changed his mind, and now he's his running mate. I mean, Errol, basically, you've also had Elon say publicly about being an evil man and so on and so forth, but he sort of changed his mind. How did that come about?
well, we in about 5 years, or around about 2015, Trump announced his candidacy for presidency. So I made it quite known that this is the right person to put America back on track. And in fact, people have been worried about what was happening in America, even at that time. In many ways, although when you go there, you don't see the things that are presented in the media. But at any rate, I let everybody know that I think Trump's terrific. And I had followed Trump's career because he did very much the same sort of thing as I did as a career. And of course, in a very much bigger way than me. And uh, by the time uh, he had become a candidate, it was pretty well known that I supported Trump. Anyway, on my 70th birthday, which was in 2016, Elon Kimmel came to South Africa with a bunch of actors and film producers and the Google the owners and stuff like that, and they held a big function for me in Cape Town, where they took over an entire city block with security and everything, and took over this restaurant. And they took over the restaurant for the whole day, and there were a lot of children that came, with all in private jets and stuff. And I was, a big cake was presented, a big cheesecake. It was wonderful. I know I like cheesecake. Anyway, and so we had this big party, and I was with all these famous people, you could say, Elon Kimmel, and then the one man, his name is John Favreau. He'd been the director of this movie that a lot of these people had been in, called The Jungle Book, and he laughingly said to me during the lunch or after lunch, he said, "So you support Trump?" So I said, I thought he was being nice, but he said it from across the room, across this huge table of 20 odd people. And I said, yes. I said, Trump is the answer for the presidency, something like that. And the whole crowd just burst into, not Elon Kimmel, the whole crowd just burst into raucous laughter, and and so I didn't quite know what to make of it. And then they started throwing slurs. Are you stupid or something? What on earth would make you? Being the old man of Elon Kimball, I suppose I didn't look as though I felt that they think they could say whatever they like. I don't like that John Favreau. He's a very false type of person. But at any rate, so I said to them, well, look, I live in South Africa. I live in Africa. And people here, I carry a gun all the time. I'm always armed. I live behind an electric fence. I live inside electric beams. I have cameras on every corner of the house. We have a permanent guard that is in our street, permanently up and down, 24 hours a day. This is Africa. We can't take our children to school. We can't send our children to school in any other way than to put them in a car, drive them through your gates, take them through the gates of school. They can't not even be allowed to lift outside the gate. You have to take them through the gate into the school, hand them to the teacher, because in this country, they kill you. As a matter of fact, when I was having a chat the other day with somebody on the score, 10 people were shot dead in Cape Town on that day. On that particular day, the news is 10 people shot dead in Cape Town. And then if you look at the dangerous cities in the world, Pretoria is listed as the 4th most dangerous city in the world. Johannesburg, the 5th most dangerous city. And Cape Town, I think, is the 7th most dangerous city. Oddly enough, after that, the 8th most dangerous city is Cambridge in Massachusetts, which is essentially a black town, considered the most dangerous. The number 1 is Kabul, and the number 2 is Baghdad. So, and number 3 is Aleppo or something like that. Anyway, so I said to this person, when you live here, you see things slightly differently to this John Favreau than you do if you live in a budgie cage like America, where everybody is like a little budgie who gets his food every day and flies around and gets water and, trimmed and little flowers thrown in every day. That's America, but this is not America. So I have to see I see things from a different way to what you do, which is very true, because the average American is so spoiled and so ignorant of what goes on in the rest of the world that it's sickening, actually. They make Marie Antoinette look like a fiend with her comment, if you haven't got bread, why don't you eat food? The American youngsters would say, well, if you haven't got food, pastries are very nice. Anyway, so that was a problem. And it spoiled the lunch and didn't go so well after that. And then when the people all left, my boys confronted me and said, look, you really embarrassed us. You really, really embarrassed us with this Trump shit. Excuse the language, because they were very rude to me. And they said, Kimball never uses foul language, threw foul language at me like it was, I never heard him. I didn't know he could talk like that. And told him, I'm done with him for my Trump support, you see. So anyway, the thing is, you see, for them to be friends with those people that they brought, they have to pretend or to put on that they are flaming Democrats or whatever it is, and that they hate everything, that the United States stands for and all that sort of stuff. And that was, Elon said to me on that day, he said, you're evil. You're an evil man for supporting Trump. It's evil. Don't you realize this man is evil? Now, of course, they've woken up to the reality, and Elon now supports Trump. I don't discuss it with Kimball at all, because Kimball's an arty sort of person, and he's too easily inflamed. So I don't discuss Trump with Kimball. We don't discuss it.
So the comment from Elon, because this is what lots of people quote in the press, and what they say is, I love you coming on the show, just to put the record straight. The comment when he described you as evil and a terrible human being, that was to do with your support of Trump.
Yes. Because and it was sort of an extended version, because they'd seen not only Trump, but how I've been their whole lives. I've been this bad influence their whole lives, this Trump-like influence their whole lives or something, and they sort of packaged the whole thing, that my Trump attitude, and it explains why their lives are so difficult in America, the whole life they had with me from the time they were born. And it all now became clear to them that I'm an evil bastard, and that that's why they've struggled so much in America, because to try and and the fact is that most people who that went to America from South Africa, white people, did find themselves confronted with, oh, you're a white person from South Africa, so you were the apartheid people. You hated the blacks. You're all racists who are coming here. Much like you might think Germans left Germany after the Second World War and arrived, and they were all ex-members of the SS, or supposedly were all members of the SS or something like that. And so even my daughters, especially my daughter Alexandra, which is university, told me how difficult it was for her, how difficult the girls made it for her. Some of the girls made it for in America because she was from South Africa, and how they, used the fact that she was from South Africa against her. And I actually said to her on one occasion, we were driving and she was in tears, and I said to her, just ask them where the Red Indians are next time. Wait until they're done, and then say, I wonder if you could tell me where I can see a Red Indian village. And then they'll never query you again, because they killed all the Red Indians, and they know it. They killed all the Red Indians. The Red Indian population was 26 million prior to 1900. By 1900, it was 1 million. They killed them all, most of them, 99% of them. So they won't bother you. And she did that. And they never bothered her after that. Yeah. But what has happened in America in the last 5 years, it's reached a sort of watershed moment where people have realized that, people like Elon have realized, look, there's something wrong with this other side. They've got a president who, to all intents and purposes, has been selling American information about American government and secrets to the enemy for money. And he's now the president. And the son is a drug addict who does all this terrible stuff. And it's just everywhere for them that as white, WASP, Anglo-Saxon men, they're not acceptable in their own country anymore. They're being told they're not acceptable in their own country. They built the country, but they're not acceptable. So they've started to wake up to this kind of crap. And they're starting to say, no, this is not the way it is anymore. And so you get your J.D. Vance situation, where a few years ago he was like Elon, and then suddenly he realized these people are actually telling him he's not welcome in his own country.
Yeah. No, it is interesting. I always feel sorry, and I say, going back to what I was saying about living it out in public, it must be really tough as a father hearing your children say those things, but also saying it very publicly.
No, because if it's true, then I think you would think, well, but everyone I know said to me, everyone in South Africa, because I raised them, they stayed at me. May has gone around telling people how she raised the children. She never raised the children. I raised the children. So she never knew what schools they went to. I mean, it's ridiculous. But anyway, she was busy with her modeling. But no, if you know it's not true, then you don't concern yourself with it. Plus, anyway, my own brother, who's a medical specialist, I say that because medical specialists deal with people. And all my friends said to me, Errol, you're the best father we've ever known. Those boys could never have had a better father than you. And then when you have your own daughters from my second marriage, Alexandra and Rose, telling me that, Dad, you're the best father. No one could have a better father than you. Then you realize they are dealing with a situation that they have. And so you lead them to it, let them come to their own sort of realization of it. And so things have changed dramatically since that time when they said those sort of things.
Yeah. Well, and as you say, Elon he's got this bromance going with Donald Trump, and we had that glorious interview just a little while ago, and there will be a place in Trump's presidency for Elon to make
a very good thing if he is in the if it'd be a very good thing if he is in that, because he needs to be a figurehead and not actually, because Elon can't dispense with everyone. There are people there that aren't A people. He has to give everybody a chance, even if they're not A people. He likes A people, But at any rate, or rather A meaning that they're very academically qualified or good or something. But I must just add that, 6 months ago, I was at the launch of a SpaceX Starship, and after the event, we had a very big party. And after the party, Elon addressed everybody, and he said, everyone, this is my dad. And it was very nice. Put his arm over my shoulder. He said, this is my dad. He taught me everything I know about engineering. He announced this to all the engineers and all the scientists.
Yeah.
He taught me everything I know about engineering. And then, of course, I had to say something. So I said, no, I didn't. I said, Elon is quite capable on his own. and but I'm glad he thinks I taught him something. But that was the thing. So one has to realize that these things happen in families, and the things go up and they go down, and they go up and they go down. And it's true that as parents, you never feel you could have done, and you could have done more. I don't think there's a parent that goes around saying, I did everything I could for it. No, you really would have liked to have done more for your children. And I think children also like to think, they're also inclined to think, oh, my parents could have done more for me if they had tried, But then, of course, the revenge comes for the parent, because when your child has his children, they get the same treatment. Yeah. So it's a sort of a revolving.
Oh no, absolutely, door, and I think that's always the way. I mean, history repeats itself because people don't learn the lessons from history, and I think you only appreciate what your parents do for you when you yourself become a parent. I think that's fair, isn't it?
Yes.
And you look at that.
When I look back now on what my parents did for me, and as poor as they were, I'm absolutely dumbfounded. They were so hard up, and the things they did for me, I just wish I had been more aware of it at the time. That what they must have given up to enable me.
Right. And your children, I mean, you talk very candidly about your different relationships. Another thing which is represented in the press as well, and it's always framed in this way, Errol. So this is what they say about the relationship you have with your stepdaughter. And obviously at that stage it wasn't. Let's set the record straight there. What's the truth?
Well, I was married to her mother in 1994, and we divorced after about 2 or 3 years, because the mother was very much younger than me. She's 19 years younger than me. So for the same reasons, we'd never really, I was too set in my ways. Anyway, we divorced. But in fact, we shouldn't also have got divorced. But anyway, we did. She had 3 children of her own, and she subsequently remarried, and she placed those children in foster care. And so I never really saw them again, the children that she had, because they went into foster care. And she had 2 sons and a daughter. And then later on, in about some years later, we bumped into each other again. And we decided to get remarried. And then we were remarried again for about 5 years, during which time our second daughter, Rose, was born. And at that time, I had lost contact with her daughter because she was living with a foster family. And I did occasionally see her, but I can hardly remember seeing her, but I do remember seeing her occasionally, once or twice. And then her mother, the mother, Hayden and I, divorced again. After we had been living in America, we came back to South Africa because she didn't like it in America, and we decided to move back to South Africa. We all came back, and we are divorced again. And it's sad because to this day, she still wants to get remarried again. It's also a woman thing. I don't know. Anyway, but we're still very good friends, thank God for that. And we look after her, and we've provided her with a nice house, and she gets a monthly income from us and everything. So Hader is well looked after. That's Johanna's mother. Anyway, so I lost track of Hader when she again got married some years, about in 26, she married somebody, and I never had anything to do with her for many years. And then around about 2014, I got a call from her daughter to say that could she visit me? And she was, at that stage, she was now about 29 years old, nearly 30. And I only known her as a child, really. And so she said, and she told me she's having a very, very hard time. She's living with a man, and they have no income, and they're living in a very, very, very bad circumstances. And so I went to see her. I actually went to see where she was, because it was on the way to some other place that I was going to, and here in the Cape. And I was quite surprised to see that she was as thin as a rake and really, really looked hard up. And so I immediately bought her. I was on my way to America the next day, but I managed to find time to buy her a full outfit, a full wardrobe of clothes during that time, and to give her sufficient money until I come back from the United States. But she was living in a storeroom in a disused shopping center without furniture of any kind. I mean, it's just terrible. And with one of these modern boys, who's a surfer. He's a surfer. He's a modern surfer, whatever you call him. Anyway, a real useless. But anyway, so I came back, and after that, I said to her, look, I must help her with toiletries and stuff. So I helped her for about 2 years with the odd things that she needed. And this grew slowly, the amount of money I gave her, enough for them to eat every day, and certainly for her to take care of herself and things like that. And things went quite all right. I also provided them with a car. So they never had a car. So I was able to give them a second-hand car. And then on one occasion, she contacted me and said that she's been thrown out onto the street from this storeroom that she's living in, I mean, from my point of view, she's living with another man. It's not my business. Another man's business is his business, not my business. It's his woman. It's not my woman. I mean, I can't go there and take over. I'm not the dad or anything, or not. It's not my business. And in any case, I think if you start giving some woman money and she's with another man, you're also looking. You might be looking for this chap to come and have words with you, because you're not interfering with his affair, his man, his girlfriend, or whatever, his wife, or whatever. Anyway, so she told me that she's been thrown out on the street. All the things have been thrown out onto the street in this place this horrible place they were living at. And I said to her, well, how have you got the vehicle? She said, yes, she's got the vehicle. So I said, well, put your things into the vehicle. And it was a hatchback, so she could get everything in. And I said, come here. You can't be there. Come here immediately. So she came over and she stayed here for about a week. During the time, we found that we were very on much the same sort of wavelength, And my daughter, Rose, was staying with us because I had custody of Rose. And as it happened, I demanded custody of Rose in exchange for things, because I wanted Rose to grow up with me. And she had been in school in America, but I brought her out here for her high school. And anyway, so Rose was with us, and Jana came, and one thing led to another, and Jana and I started going out. And then after a while, this boyfriend complained and said that he's very sorry and everything. And of course, Jana is very much younger than me. And so she felt heartbroken about it or something, and she said she's going to go back. So I encouraged her that she go back to the boy, to this chap. So she went back to this boy, and then then I continued with a little bit of finance for them, you see. And of course, I was very concerned about that he doesn't harm her in any way as well, but because I had words with him about that. Anyway, he was a bit of a drip, so I wasn't too worried about that. I was more worried about her doing without. But at any rate, a couple of months passed, and she asked me if she could come and see me. So I said, well, sure. So she came to see me, and she sat down with me in my home here, and she said to me, I'm pregnant. So I said, well, you're pregnant. So she said, yeah, I'm pregnant. I said, well, it's not me, it can't be me. I mean, So she said, well, it is you, because I haven't had any kind of relations with anybody, including that chap, for months. I happen to live there, but nothing happens. So I said, oh, so I really couldn't believe it, really. But anyway, she insisted, and so she insisted, and she's a very straightforward sort of person. And I thought, well, she's a very beautiful girl as well. And so I said to her, look, all right, if eventually after she'd insisted, went on with the story for a couple of weeks, I said, well, I found a place to find out if you can do a DNA test. And apparently you couldn't do it in South Africa. At that point in time, you had to do it overseas. So I had to send blood tests in a cryogenically sealed container to Canada. And we did these blood tests. We sent them, this is prenatal blood tests. And they sent back the results saying that I am 99.9% likely to the father, you see, of the child. So, well, that was that, So she had the child, and he's now 7. And we actually got back together on several occasions, and we are back together again, as it happens now. And, so we are back together. And again, now we haven't been back together for some time, But for the last few months, we've been back together. The last 2 or 3 months, we've been back together because she has her own place that I got for her own home. And she did have this chap there a few times to try and see if they could get it to work out. But he doesn't work, and he lives off her, and she gets a substantial fund from me and the family. You know, she's on the family payroll, you could say. And he's living off her, and she doesn't like it, and he you know, and so on and so forth. Anyway, the thing is, we had another child, so
you have two more beautiful children.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you're populating the world between you, which is glorious.
But the two most beautiful people, I can't imagine the world without these two. I can't imagine the world without these two people. And so that sort of thing starts to explain it to you afterwards, you know, because there's a side of you that becomes very sort of, ooh, I better run and hide. And there's another side of you that sees these children and say, oh my God, this is miraculous, because I've added value to the world with these two. These are added value. And I sent her a picture of Rashi. He loves classical music, you know.
Yes.
So he likes Andre Rieu. I don't know if you've heard
Yes, of course. Very flamboyant chap. Absolutely.
Well, you've just done it, you see.
No, that's it.
So we've got this big screen, and we put Andre Rieu on, and Andre Rieu stands there going like this with Rashi, with his little wand. It's a little magic wand, a thing that it's actually a pull-out aerial.
Right.
And he stands there and he orchestrates like this, you see, and he does it with his fingers.
Yeah.
So his fingers are doing it, much more delicate than me. 7 years old. He does the whole thing with Andre Rieu. So I took a video of it and I sent it to the family. And I said, this is bad. This is supposed to be bad. You know, because he's beautiful and he does this so well and so upright, you know, he sits up, does it so well. Anyway, so, you know, you start to see the method in God's madness in the long run. And of course, people ridicule me by saying, oh, you think this is God's plan? You know, ridicule. I say, I don't know.
I'm so pleased, Errol, that it's good to get it out. And as I say, that's what I love about coming on the show. We can get rid of all the rubbish. I always say that if people don't read the newspaper, they're
But you know what is really nice?
Yes.
You know what's really nice is to see a girl, a woman, a beautiful woman of good breeding and everything, go from being a stick, hollow cheeks, from a stick, to today being a woman you could put onto any social scene anywhere in the world and people would marvel to just look at her. That's what she is now.
Oh, fantastic. Well, look, I'm so pleased.
That is very fulfilling. So I did that. I managed to achieve that. And she's such a good mother. I mean, Yana is without a doubt the best mother I've ever, better than May. And May was AAA. Hader was AAA. Yana, I just don't know how to put it. She is so good with these children that there's just no words for it.
Right. You know, well, I can tell, Errol, it makes you very, very happy. Your best productions ever. Your fantastic children is always good. Errol, it's been an absolute delight as always. We will keep getting you back. Keep unpacking those stories. As I say, Elon and Kimball, and they keep dominating the headlines. So we'll get you back to comment more on those. But for now, thank you very much for joining me, and I'll see you next time.
Okay. Thank you.